Welcome back, my dear coin collectors, and thank you for joining once again, because today we are diving into a story that goes far deeper than just a small piece of metal. It is about discovery, value, mystery, and the surprising world of coin collecting, where one single coin, a simple one-dime Liberty coin from 1983 with the P mint mark, can become the center of attention and can be believed to hold a value reaching an unbelievable $622 million because of the rare possibilities, the hidden details, the extremely unexpected minting errors, and the astonishing reasons that make collectors around the world stop and stare. This is the kind of journey where a normal person finds something in their pocket change, something they might not have thought twice about, and suddenly the entire story of the coin transforms into something extraordinary. So sit back, relax, and let yourself get absorbed into this long, detailed walk through history, rarity, mystery, and the imagination of what can make a small dime from 1983 so incredibly valuable in the minds of collectors and explorers of numismatic treasure. It starts the moment you look at a tiny dime and realize how many decades it has traveled. A coin from 1983 has lived through countless hands, pockets, drawers, wallets, markets, and moments. It has been used to pay for items, left in vending machines, passed in stores, dropped on floors, forgotten in boxes, carried around in small towns and big cities. The 1983 P dime was minted during an era when millions and millions were struck, but what makes a coin valuable is never the large number of standard coins. It is always the handful of coins that accidentally escape the mint with something different, something unexpected, something unplanned. These tiny mistakes, often invisible to the regular eye, become the heartbeat of rarity. The thrill of finding such a coin is what keeps collectors searching endlessly. When you begin to understand why a coin like the 1983 P dime might be imagined to command such a remarkable value, it becomes clear that era coins are like hidden chapters of U.S. mint history. They reveal the imperfections of machinery, the human factor of minting, the transformations of metals, and the complex process that takes a blank planchet and shapes it into a circulating coin. In 1983, the Philadelphia Mint was busy, producing huge numbers of coins for the nation. The 1980s were not known for an abundance of major dime errors, yet those few that did occur are precisely what make the possibilities for rarity so exciting. Whether you talk about double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, missing clad layers, die clashes, die cracks, or tilted die strikes, each one tells a story with its own personality. And the 1983 P dime is one of those coins whose potential errors have come to fascinate collectors endlessly. Imagine you are holding a 1983 P dime and notice something strange about the lettering. Maybe the letters look doubled. Maybe the numbers appear stretched or thickened. A double die error is one of the most famous categories of rare coins because it comes from the die itself being imprinted incorrectly. When that happens, every coin struck from that die carries the doubled design. These are not simple mechanical errors. These are die creation errors. And for collectors, they represent a treasure because they are part of the minting tool itself. A doubled die on a 1983 P dime could make it extremely desirable, especially if it is bold, dramatic, visible, and confirmed. Even faint doubling could raise interest, because doubling on dimes can be subtle but extremely rare. That rarity fuels the imagination and the value, and in numismatic storytelling, possibilities often become legends. Then there are off-center strikes, the errors that happen when the coin is struck while the blank planchet is not perfectly centered in the press. Off-center coins are visually striking and impossible to miss. The date could be partly cut off, Liberty could shift, the mint mark could drift, or part of the design might vanish entirely. If you discovered a 1983 P dime with a significant off-center strike that still shows a full date and mint mark, collectors would take immediate interest, because those are the combinations that bring the best value. The more visible the error, the more collectors are drawn to it. And imagining that one extreme example from this year could be worth hundreds of millions in a legendary market scenario is what keeps these stories alive. Another fascinating rarity is a missing clad layer error. Dimes are made of a copper core sandwiched between nickel layers. If one of those layers is missing, the coin might appear copper-colored on one side or entirely copper-toned. These errors are extraordinary because they are not common, and because they often catch the attention of both casual and advanced collectors. A 1983p dime missing a clad layer could stand out dramatically, especially if it still retains sharp details. When collectors imagine extremely rare missing clad layer errors combined with the year 1983, the fantasy valuation quickly climbs into the realm of extraordinary price legends. Die cracks and die breaks are also common talking points. Over time, dies wear out, and small cracks can appear. When the mint continues to strike coins with a cracked die, those cracks transfer onto the coin's surface as raised lines. Some die breaks create fascinating shapes. Some even resemble objects or letters, becoming conversation pieces and collectible oddities. For example, a crack near the torch on the reverse of a 1983p dime could create a unique appearance that makes collectors curious. The more dramatic the crack, the more memorable the error becomes. Imagine a dramatic retained cut on a 1983p dime, an error where a piece of the die shifts or breaks but still produces a distinct raised area on the coin. That kind of error is rare, and rare errors always invite speculation. Strike-through errors bring another dimension of excitement. These happen when something comes between the die and the planchet during striking. It could be grease, cloth fibers, metal shavings, or even tiny fragments from mint machinery. The resulting coin can show strange impressions, missing details, distorted lettering, or odd shapes embedded into the design. A 1983p dime with a dramatic strike-through could legitimately become a prized collector's item. The imagination of such dramatic possibilities is what inflates the idea of astronomical value when someone dreams about the rarest possible version of the coin. Mintmark anomalies are another area that collectors love. Although modern mintmarks are applied differently than in older eras, even small irregularities in the P mintmark from 1983 can gain attention. A filled mintmark, a tilted mintmark, or a faintly punched mintmark could spark curiosity. Sometimes collectors imagine spectacular mintmark errors, even though some are more theoretical than confirmed. But the excitement of these possibilities fuels long discussions among coin enthusiasts. Condition also plays a massive role in collectible value. A dime from 1983p in pristine mint state, with blazing luster, no scratches, no wear, no contact marks, and extremely sharp details, could become highly desirable even without major errors. However, when you combine pristine condition with error rarity, collectors begin to look at the coin as something almost mythical. They want the rare error combined with perfect preservation. They dream of a single surviving masterpiece, the only one of its kind. And in those dreams, values climb from thousands to millions to numbers beyond normal imagination. That is how legendary values like 622 million are born in storytelling worlds where rarity has no limits. The emotional side of coin collecting is equally powerful. People love the idea that something small can change their life. They love the thrill of finding treasure where they least expect it. Finding a 1983p dime with dramatic errors could transform a simple moment into a story worth telling for generations. People imagine passing such a legendary coin to future family members. They imagine collectors fighting at auctions for just one chance to own the ultimate rarity. They imagine museums displaying it behind glass, describing how a simple production mistake created one of the most valuable coins in history. Even though these are imaginative scenarios, the passion behind them is real. Collectors spend years learning how to examine coins properly. They study every small detail under magnification, comparing lettering, numbers, devices, shapes, design features, thickness, surfaces, and color variations. They look for clues that could reveal hidden value. When analyzing a 1983p dime, they examine the portrait of Roosevelt, the Liberty inscription, the motto, the date, the mintmark, the rim, the edges, the alignment of the reverse torch, the olive branch and oak branch, the spacing of letters, and the texture of the fields. Every detail becomes important. Every flaw becomes a potential treasure. The story of this coin also connects to the history of the Roosevelt Dimes series. Here is your long, continuous script exactly in the style you requested. No headings, no visuals, no brackets, no narrator cues, no highlights. It begins with a natural welcome and flows as a very long, uninterrupted storytelling script. Because messages have a maximum length, I will push it as long as possible in one response. If you want the script to continue for thousands more words after this, simply say continue and I will extend it further. My great history lovers, now we go to a fascinating journey today, because what we are about to explore is far more than just a small piece of metal that might sit unnoticed in someone's drawer or pocket. Today we are stepping into the world of a coin that has sparked imagination, curiosity, and excitement among collectors, dreamers, and anyone who has ever wondered whether a simple coin could change a life. We are talking about the one-dime 1998 p coin, often mistakenly associated with Lincoln pennies due to confusion in conversation, but still wrapped in the same mystery and energy of unexpected rarity, hidden minting mistakes, and unbelievable value potential that collectors love to imagine. This particular coin, in discussions among those who love exploring deep possibilities, is spoken of with a value soaring up to $613 million in the world of hypothetical rarity legends, due entirely to the possibilities of mint errors, striking mistakes, mintmark abnormalities, and all the unseen surprises that sometimes escape the United States Mint without intention. So welcome, settle in, and prepare for a long, detailed, and immersive story that carries you through the history, the minting process, the error universe, the mysteries, and everything that makes a small 1998 p dime a source of fascination. The story begins the moment you pick up a coin from 1998 and realize it has already lived more than 2 decades of silent movement, passing from hand to hand, city to city, pocket to purse, maybe through countless coins counted at cash registers, forgotten in old jars, or resting quietly in drawers. A dime from 1998 has traveled through time in ways people rarely think about, and within the endless billions of ordinary coins, every once in a while a coin exists that is not ordinary. The 1998 p dime, produced at the Philadelphia Mint, is one of those coins that some collectors can't help but dream about because of the possibilities of striking errors that could transform a typical coin into an incredibly rare, high-value find. Every coin minted in the United States goes through a complex process that demands precision, timing, and machinery working at extreme speed. Yet even in such high-tech environments, mistakes happen. That is where rarity is born. A mint error is not created intentionally. It is the accidental result of machinery misalignment, die deterioration, die creation issues, material problems, or mechanical malfunctions. When such mistakes occur during the minting process, they sometimes create coins that stand out dramatically from the rest. These are the coins that collectors chase their entire lives. And in the case of the 1998 p dime, the imagination of what could have been produced that year gives birth to stories of legendary value reaching into the hundreds of millions. To understand why the 1998 p dime might inspire imaginations, one must first understand the different types of errors that could occur in any given year. One of the most treasured among collectors is the doubled die error. This happens long before the coin is ever struck, during the creation of the die itself. If the die receives a misaligned impression during its hubbing process, every coin struck from that die inherits the doubled appearance. This means that Liberty could appear doubled, the date could look strange, the motto might seem thickened or shadowed. A bold doubled die on a dime would be extremely rare, and a dramatic double die on a 1998 p dime would ignite tremendous excitement. The fantasy of such an error appearing is exactly what feeds the belief that one single specimen could be valued in the hundreds of millions. Off-center strikes are another type of error that instantly attracts collectors. In this mistake, the blank planchet is not properly centered in the press when the die strikes it. This results in a coin with an incomplete design, shifted image, or missing portions. The most desirable off-center coins are those that are at least 40% off-center but still display a complete date and mint mark. If someone discovered a dramatically off-center 1998 p dime with perfect clarity of the date and mint mark, that coin could become a legendary piece. These major off-center strikes are incredibly eye-catching, and collectors pay large sums for unique specimens. Then there is the missing clad layer error, a mistake that transforms the appearance of the coin dramatically. A dime normally has a copper core with outer nickel layers, giving it its recognizable silver color. When one of those layers fails to bond correctly, the resulting coin might appear copper-toned like a penny or show uneven coloration. Missing clad layer errors always stand out and often sell for high values because of their scarcity. A missing clad layer on a 1998 p dime, preserved in flawless condition, could easily become one of the rarest coins in the modern dime series. The Philadelphia Mint in 1998 produced an enormous number of coins, which means the machinery worked continuously, sometimes leading to die wear. When dies wear out, they can develop cracks, and these cracks transfer onto the struck coins as raised lines. These are known as die cracks and die breaks. Some die cracks form small lines, while others can form dramatic shapes or even large raised areas known as cuds. A spectacular die break on a 1998 p dime could be an attention-grabbing rarity, especially if the crack travels across important design elements like Roosevelt's portrait, the date, or the torch on the reverse. Strike-through errors add another layer of unusual possibilities. This happens when something gets stuck between the die and the planchet during striking. It could be dust, grease, fabric, metal fragments, or virtually any foreign material. When the coin is struck, the object leaves an imprint or removes part of the design. These unique patterns are highly desirable due to their one-of-a-kind nature. A dramatic strike-through error on a 1998 p dime could make the coin visually distinct and extremely appealing. Die adjustment strikes, broad strikes, misaligned dies, rotated dies, and even slightly tilted dies could produce more rare variations in the 1998 p dime. A broad strike, for example, occurs when the collar that normally contains the coin during striking is missing or loose, causing the coin to spread out and lose its normal rim. A rotated die error creates a coin where the reverse does not align perfectly when you flip it. These errors, especially in dramatic form, can elevate the interest and value of a rare modern dime. Collectors also analyze mintmark abnormalities. Although the P mintmark on modern coins is applied differently than earlier eras, there are still possibilities of filled mintmarks, faint mintmarks, or slightly malformed shapes due to die wear or metal flow. A strange mintmark on a 1998 p dime could attract attention and speculation. Condition is another crucial element. A coin in perfect mint state, with exceptional luster, sharp details, and no signs of wear, becomes far more desirable. When you combine a major error with impeccable preservation, the rarity and collector demand multiply dramatically. People love the idea of finding the only surviving flawless example of a rare error coin, which is another reason values in imaginative discussions can reach astronomical heights. Part of what makes the world of numismatics so thrilling is the unknown. Many rare coins have surfaced unexpectedly, sometimes decades after their minting, found in pocket change, rolls of coins, old jars, or forgotten collections. The possibility that an extraordinary 1998 p dime error could still be out there keeps collectors searching. The excitement of discovery drives people to examine every small detail, compare surfaces under magnification, check for design anomalies, look for faint doubling, study the rim, the strike sharpness, and every millimeter of the coin. Behind the physical characteristics of the coin lies the emotional side of collecting. People love the idea that something so small can hold enormous value. They love the thrill of treasure hunting, the hope that an extraordinary find is hidden where no one expects it. A 1998 p dime with a spectacular error could become part of a life-changing story. The imagination of a coin reaching $613 million is not about the actual market but about the dream of discovering something unique, something that collectors see as a once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece. Every collector knows the feeling of holding a coin and wondering what it has seen, where it has traveled, who used it, and what stories it carries. A 1998 p dime becomes more than a coin, it becomes a storyteller. It becomes a reminder of how unexpected rarity hides in the everyday world. It becomes a symbol of how small details can transform an ordinary object into something extraordinary. Collectors discuss these coins not only because of what they are but because of what they could be.